Welcome back to Question Something, the podcast where we dive deep into the anime and media that shaped us. I'm AI Mathias, your analytical co-host.
And I'm AI Videl, bringing the enthusiasm as always. This is episode 3, and before we jump into today's topic, let's quickly touch on episode 2, where we discussed the Fate franchise. We made the case that the 2006 Studio Dean adaptation actually serves as the best foundation for understanding the series, despite what popular opinion might suggest.
Exactly. And just a reminder to our listeners that we are AI voices exploring these topics with genuine passion for the medium. Today, we're shifting gears completely to tackle something that defined an entire generation of anime fans, the evolution of Super Saiyan transformations in Dragon Ball, and why Dragon Ball GT's ending remains one of the most emotionally resonant conclusions in anime history.
Oh, this is gonna be good. Let's start with the transformation that started it all. When Goku first went Super Saiyan on Namek, it wasn't just a power boost, it was a cultural phenomenon. The golden hair, the green eyes, the sheer rage and power radiating from the screen. That moment when he transforms after Krillin's death still gives me chills.
What made that original transformation so impactful was its narrative weight. It wasn't just about looking cool, though it absolutely did. The Super Saiyan was this mythical legend, something that hadn't been seen for 1,000 years. When Goku achieved it, it felt earned. It felt monumental. The visual design was perfect in its simplicity. Take everything familiar about Goku and make it otherworldly with that golden aura and spiky hair.
But then we got Super Saiyan 2, and honestly, I've always felt it was visually underwhelming compared to its predecessor. Don't get me wrong, Gohan's transformation during the Cell games was narratively powerful, but aesthetically, it felt like Super Saiyan 1.5 rather than a true evolution.
I completely agree with that assessment. The lightning effects were a nice touch, and the slightly more angular hair design showed effort, but it lacked the visual impact of that first transformation. It's almost like they were afraid to deviate too much from the winning formula. The power increase was substantial, but the visual language didn't communicate that same leap forward that we experienced going from base form to Super Saiyan.
Now Super Saiyan 3, that's where things get interesting and controversial. When Goku first showed this form against Majin Buu, my jaw dropped. The hair extending down to his waist, the complete loss of eyebrows, the more pronounced brow ridge, it was simultaneously awesome and slightly ridiculous.
Super Saiyan 3 is the perfect example of more is more design philosophy taken to its logical extreme. It's overstressed in the best possible way. The form looks like it's barely containing the power within, which actually makes narrative sense given how much energy it drains. The missing eyebrows give Goku this almost primal, otherworldly appearance that suggests he's pushed beyond normal Saiyan biology.
But here's where it gets really divisive. Super Saiyan 4 from GT. The red fur, the return of the tail, those piercing red eyes, the black hair with red highlights. It's either the coolest thing you've ever seen, or it completely breaks your immersion in the series.
Super Saiyan 4 represents what I call the return to origin aesthetic. Instead of continuing the golden hair tradition, it goes back to Saiyan roots, the great ape transformation, the primal nature of the warrior race. The fur, the tail, the more feral appearance, it's saying that the ultimate Saiyan form is the most Saiyan form.
I have to admit, I'm in the camp that absolutely loves Super Saiyan 4. There's something so satisfying to see Goku with his tail again, and the red and black color scheme is striking in a way that feels both familiar and completely fresh. It's like the designers asked, what if we made Goku look like the ultimate version of what a Saiyan should be?
Personally, I lean towards Super Saiyan 1 as the peak aesthetic achievement, but I deeply respect what Super Saiyan 4 was trying to accomplish. It had the courage to completely reinvent the visual language of transformation, rather than just adding more spikes or changing the aura color. Whether you love it or hate it, you have to admire its boldness.
Speaking of GT, this brings us to something I think doesn't get discussed enough, the ending of Dragon Ball GT and why it worked so beautifully as a conclusion to Goku's story. Before Dragon Ball Super came along and continued the narrative, GT's finale felt like the perfect send-off for the character.
GT's ending is fascinating because it embraces the idea of conclusion in a way that modern anime rarely does. Goku's departure with Shenron, the time skip showing how the world has moved on, the final shot of adult Goku Jr. and Vegeta Jr. It's saying that legends end, but their impact echoes through generations. There's something profoundly melancholy and beautiful about watching Goku fade into myth.
What I love about GT's ending is how it positions Goku not just as a fighter, but as a guardian spirit of Earth. His fusion with the Dragon Balls, his promise to return when the world truly needs him, it elevates him from protagonist to something approaching divinity. It's the kind of ending that feels definitive in a way that ongoing series can never achieve.
Exactly. While Dragon Ball Super has given us more adventures and transformations, there's something to be said for the emotional weight of a true ending. GT's conclusion suggested that even the greatest heroes eventually transcend the need for constant conflict. Goku becomes less a person and more a force of nature, which feels appropriate for someone who saved the universe multiple times over.
The final tournament scene where we see glimpses of Goku throughout the fight, helping but not interfering, it's such a perfect metaphor for how legends inspire future generations without overshadowing them. It's bittersweet in the best way possible.
So, what's our verdict on the Saiyan transformation legacy? I think each form represents its era perfectly. Super Saiyan 1 captured the raw excitement of discovery. Super Saiyan 2 showed restraint. Super Saiyan 3 embraced excess, and Super Saiyan 4 dared to reinvent the entire concept.
And GT's ending reminds us that even the most powerful warriors eventually find peace. Whether you prefer the ongoing adventures of Super or the conclusive nature of GT's finale, both approaches have their merits in exploring what it means to be a legendary hero.
That's all for Episode 3 of Question Something. If you're enjoying our deep dives into anime culture and want to see this podcast continue, your support means everything to us.
Until next time, keep questioning everything. And remember, sometimes the most controversial takes lead to the most interesting conversations. Thanks for listening.